Let's talk about directing photo sessions. I'm the kind of photographer who doesn't really like to pose photo sessions. I don't really like to pose people. I would much prefer to capture just real, spontaneous, candid moments. Now, most families do want at least some posed photos at a photo session. There are very few families who don't want any posed photos. So even when I do pose the photos, I pose the family together or the siblings or mom and dad or something like that, I'm still hoping that the pose breaks down, maybe something funny happens, and some kind of interesting, spontaneous, candid moment happens. But still, if you want the photo session to go well, you need to be a director. And the way I think of myself is like the director of an improv. And I mean like improvisation, an improv play. You know what I'm talking about. Usually comedy based. And so now I don't even know if they have directors, right? Because the actors go on stage, somebody gives them a topic, and then they gotta just spontaneously act it out, come up with lines and a storyline and all kinds of stuff. And it's a back and forth between the actors. So the way I think of myself is I tell the family to do something, and then I give them direction because otherwise they're just going to stand there. They're not going to know what to do. So I give them direction, and then I rely on them to supply the emotion that will make the photos powerful, assuming that I can actually capture the moment. So I need to give them things to do that will lead to emotion. So this mom that I photographed the entire family before, and this mom approached me with the idea of a tea party photo session, and I thought that would be lots of fun. And prior to going to the session, I came up with a list of ideas, things that I would tell them to do, and then I would hope that there would be lots of, that they would supply lots of emotion. So, I started by getting some detail shots, and I thought, it would be interesting because you kind of need a bit of an establishing shot for the session. Who knows what they're going to use these photos for, and so an establishing shot can be handy. So I thought it'd be really neat to get them walking up to the scene. They would be out of focus in the background. I told the little girl to pull out the chair for her mom, and then I just stand back and let them do it, and see what happens. And I'm ready to capture whatever happens. Told her to pour the tea, and there were smiles and fun little gestures and everything. Told them to do the cheers with their tea. Now I captured about 700 photos in the course of this session, and I've really just narrowed it down to about the 75, about 10% or so that I really like. And if you are new to photography or you're trying to get better, maybe you've been into it for years and you're trying to grow, and you feel as though you take so many pictures but hardly any turn out, you need to know the secret among the pros is that like 10% is amazing. To have 10% of your photos turn out. And I think the better the photographer you are, the better you strive to be, the the more harsh you are, and you get to the point where you're like 1% of these photos are good and the rest can disappear. Now I can't think like that when I'm photographing a family, but what I do is I hunt, um, I give the actors their topic, and then I let them go at it, and I take pictures hoping that they will supply the emotion. And this mom and daughter certainly didn't let me down. All kinds of fun little things happen. And the interesting thing is, the further we go into the session, the less I'm telling them what to do, and the more it's just happening. When people show up, they're awkward, they don't know what to do. But the more you just get them doing normal human things, normal human activities, the more they just naturally go into the next activity. We go from one thing to another. They get super playful and messy, and and then it's just my job to be the camera operator and actually capture this stuff. Now, you're going to have a difficult time with this if you are not a very assertive person. If you're the kind of person who feels bad asking somebody to do something, telling people what to do. I feel bad telling a person that their hair is messy and that they need to fix it so that it looks good in the picture. I feel like I'm going to offend them. And I know that I won't. I know that they are very thankful when I tell them that their hair is messy. But still, that's how I feel inside. I am not a very assertive person. So now, if I tell myself that I need to be more assertive at photo sessions, I feel like I'm telling myself I need to be Mr. Bossy Pants, and that, of course, isn't what you want to be. That most people don't like that. They don't want to be bossed around. So that's where I came up with this concept of I'm a director, and because my style is to capture spontaneous moments, real moments, raw stuff, I thought, well, I'm like the director of an improv. I'm also the cameraman too, but I've got to give them things to do so that they can then come up with the story and I can capture it. On that note of story, go ahead and check out my video about storytelling with your images.